Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Hidden Layers Diversity in Design. Today, with me, there's a great friend and a great designer. I would like to introduce you, Hashmukh, but please, Hash, over to you. Introduce yourself and tell us what you do, please.
Yeah, thanks, my man. So I'm a 3D artist and motion designer based in London. I've been working in the advertising and TV industry for about 13, 14 years now. And yeah, just kind of make art and motion graphics and love creating these weird, crazy 3D worlds and just having fun.
Yeah, your work is amazing, actually. So, you know why we're here today. So we are talking about diversity in design, and as you know, I'm always pushing for people of color or minority groups in the design industry. And I wanted to ask you, while you was growing up, was your dream always to become a designer, or did you start into graphic design? What was your path in particular?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a traditional like art background, I would say. I kind of was into photography when I was in school and in high school, but then I actually went to college to study engineering. I went to study electronic
Mm-hmm.
engineering. It's what my parents wanted me to
Incredible.
do. So I had a somewhat interest in it, but ultimately it was something that I don't know. Maybe my parents thought it would be a good path for going into the workplace. I tried it out for a bit and it didn't work for me in college. I ended up like leaving and going straight into like media and film, and that's
Okay.
where I kind of found my love for like editing. I started using Final Cut Pro or Final Cut 5 back then. Um,
Okay.
and then found out about motion design through editing in college, and then decided all of a sudden, okay, this seems like a fun, creative thing to do. Let's
Mm-hmm.
try and go to university and study it. And yeah, I guess from there, it just all took off for me.
It's actually funny because my father is from Nigeria, so I can understand that safety nets of sending your son either to be a doctor, all those kind of big position at the serious jobs. Anything else around that? Not too serious. I totally agree with
Exactly.
you. And regarding so amazing. You start college, you did media, film, and when you started your business, did you start it immediately for like, do you work for an agency first, or do you start straight away as a freelancer in your career?
No, so I got into freelance straight away. I was quite fortunate. I was at uni, and at the end of the year or the end of your 3 years, you do like a design degree show. Most art students will probably do something like that. And I was just fortunate that people from like a local production company saw my work and happened to just need me for some like simple junior After Effects work. So then I went and did like
Okay.
a couple of freelance gigs, and then kind of just went, oh, why not just try this freelance thing out? It's working for a few
Hmm.
things here and there. Sort of haven't looked back since.
Okay, nice. And what about, have you ever encountered problems? Because I mean, not that you look different. For me, we are all people first. But being not English yourself and coming from a Indian background, do you feel like you had more struggle than other people setting yourself as a freelance designer?
Yeah, me. I mean, definitely yes. I think being a
Hmm.
freelancer was probably good for me because I think if I would have tried to go into an agency or studio very early on without any like credits or without knowing anyone, uh, obviously
Hmm.
like the access wasn't there for me the same way, and people didn't look like me in most of the studios and agencies I walked into anyway. So I think being a freelancer was good in a sense for me because I could kind of jump in and out of stuff, and most clients were looking at me based on my work, and thankfully
Hmm.
didn't have to look at a CV which had my Indian name on it and had my like do you know what I mean? They didn't have to like look at me as a person. They were looking at the art and the stuff that I was creating. So I was very fortunate in that sense. But for sure,
Hmm.
the introduction into design and advertising was very hard because yeah, you feel very different and you're an outsider, and
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like I
You
couldn't
know,
rub shoulders in the same way.
you know what I find funny actually is like it's funny because I have a similar experience as a designer. So like when people see my work, they treat me very differently. But if I
Mm.
don't mention my work or who I work with, sometimes people just ignore me. They don't think that I have something to bring to the table. So it's very
Yeah.
interesting to see, like, I mean, it's a good thing to be recognized for your work, but at the same time, do you think it's fair? Do you really think it's fair that they just l- choose you based only on the work you do? Because I think apart the work you do, we all have something that can impact the design industry. You know what I mean?
Mm. I think over the last few years, I've put myself out there more, acknowledging that fact, because I wanted I also want to make sure that people understand, yeah, it's me behind it and what I can bring from my background or culture or experiences. But I think in the early days, I had to just like, yeah, put the art and everything first to make sure I can just get my foot in the door. And now
Fair
it's
enough.
different, obviously. You gained experience, as you know, and yeah, you become maybe a bit more recognizable, or you're known in the industry or
Hmm.
whatever. But yeah, it's a balance sometimes
Hmm.
because
And
yeah.
and what about rejection? Have you ever got rejected based on just the impact they have of seeing you or meeting you, having an interview with you? You know, to me, it happened many times that based on how I look, they made a judgment, and some people even see my work after, and then there was like, oh no, we did a mistake.
Yeah.
Like we want to hire the
Yeah.
guy just based off looks, you know. So did that ever
I, th-
happen to you? In
I think so. I think there's rooms that I've walked into which I feel like I don't belong there. And probably other people feel like I don't belong there as well. So there's definitely probably been a lot of rejection like that. I know for sure I've worked in agencies and studios, big agencies and studios, where I'm probably not been given a specific task or role, which is a bit higher up than what, I'm currently doing, because of how I look, or because I don't talk a
mm,
certain way, or because maybe I don't gel with everyone else because everyone else is in this little clique or whatever. So I definitely know that I've been left out of certain projects or meetings or circles. Um,
hmm
so that there is rejection there without a doubt. I know that for sure.
and to stand out, do you think like at least that's something that happened to me as well? But to stand out, did you always feel the need to be the best in the room?
Yeah, I think so. I think you have to try and find out other ways to stand out and put a spotlight on you. Um,
Yeah,
which is sad, right? Because you all want to be given a fair chance. Like we all want to be able to
exact.
have an equal opportunity when it comes to like working for this person, or being able to speak on this thing, or like I think
Yeah.
it's sad that we're treated slightly differently. So yeah.
Yeah, but that's why we're here talking about this because that's I mean, we're still sad about it, but it's still happening today. And I think like one thing that a lot of people don't know is like exactly what you said. Equality is very important within the design industry because I feel like sometimes I have experienced enormous amount of burnouts, and not just because I wasn't doing not good enough work, but just because I had to do so much more than the others all the time, just to have 1 foot extra in the game, you know, like one step higher in the game. So I just feel like sometimes the amount of work that I carry out was just too much at certain times. Even today, I still have that routine, but it's not always healthy, if it makes sense.
Yeah, I get it. I feel like sometimes, even now, with all the experience I've had, I feel like I still have to go above and beyond. Like I have to
Mm,
shout out more about my work, or on LinkedIn, I have to like connect with more people. I don't know. I feel like there's always something still, which is like you learn over time, and as you become more senior and you have more experience, but yeah, I try not to hold that against my output and the work.
yeah.
You know, it's
And
tough.
how do you feel like when you go out to events and you don't see enough people like you in the room? How do you feel walking in a room like that? Is it
Yeah,
something that by now you're confident in doing, or still you have to adapt to the people surrounding you in a certain way, if it makes sense. It's not being a fake version of yourself, but
Mm.
sometimes if you don't push yourself in being thinking forward, I would call it, sometimes you have to adapt to your surroundings, I would say, and it's not being fake, but it's also some people don't always understand different cultures, I would say,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like
yeah,
how we talk, or how we
yeah,
I don't know, everything, like the way we talk, sometimes the way you dress, it's like every culture is different, and sometimes some culture can sound a little bit too more like louder, or like bit more like in the black community. I'll be honest, whenever I walk into a room, even as a mixed race, I feel very comfortable, and it's always warm, like people just want to know each other, have a laugh, have a great time, and they don't let you feel awkward. Rather, in some other rooms I walk in and I really feel like not tension, but do I really belong here? And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
when they get to know me, then they're like, "Wow, we love David." But at the very beginning stage, I feel like there's something missing. Does that happen to you many times as well?
I think I've gotten better at it, but I
Okay.
remember like the way I speak now is very different to when I left uni. I was
Mm-hmm.
still like I come from East London, so I speak a certain way, and you have like you speak in slang, and I don't know. I remember going into rooms and having to change the way I speak slightly, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and change your etiquette a bit, and how you pronounce stuff, and yeah, it's interesting. And then I do meet. It's interesting because like there's places I go, I meet people like you, and
Mm-hmm.
then I like kind of switch back into it because it's like you feel comfortable and you feel a bit more safe. There's definitely like different environments. Exactly what you're saying. Like if I go to an event where people look like me, I feel I'm like there's a sense of ease, which is a shame because it
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be just like that. I should be able to go anywhere, but yeah, you definitely have to, I think, assimilate in certain space. Um, but it's changing, I think like we've been in rooms where, you can just like be natural, you can be yourself with around people.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it just
Mm-hmm.
depends on like, yeah, how safe does a space feel, and how whoever's put that space together, like how have they made sure it feels like a balanced room, where people coming in from all
Mm-hmm.
different walks of life.
But do you think like it's just balance, or it's just because we've done it so many times now that we don't feel any pressure anymore? You understand what I
Mm,
mean?
yeah,
Because I always say like habits. That is sort of a habit. If you're always in the same place, you do the same thing, you get better at it, you get better at it. So did they really resolve the problem of having enough diversity within any design event? Because still today I still find like whenever you talk about the topic, oh wow, I don't see a lot of black artists, how comes? They will always reply to you, but we don't know where we can find that kind of community. We don't
yeah,
know who
which
to
is
talk
wild.
to find people like this. But then if you think about all the friends talented that I have, that are underdogs, nobody talks about them, but they're talented artists. In India, the same thing. You go Sri Lanka, the same thing. You go Kenya, the same thing. So I have friends from every kind of background of the world, and they're just nowhere. It's almost like nowhere to be found. But the talent that I have is crazy, man. So it's very interesting, though. By the way, I wanted to shout you out because for people that don't know Hash is helping Brown Inca, and please, Ash, talk about it. I think you're the best person to talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. So Brown Ink is space for South Asian artists to come together, and sort of just like meet and have a safe space and have a networking space. We also do like panels and talks and all sorts of stuff. I mean, anyone's welcome, but the theme is to sort of put a spotlight on South Asian creatives. People like me who feel like we're speaking about, don't feel like you're being represented, or you don't see other people like you. It's nice to be able to get a bunch of people together, and maybe be able to share each other out, rub shoulders, talk, whatever it is. Um, and yeah, sort of similar to what you're saying. It's like it's the talent's out there, and through Brown Ink and the stuff that we do
Mm-hmm.
there, and the networking, especially the networking events, and you've been to. couple yourself.
Yeah, yeah, I've been.
Yeah,
I was
there's
super happy actually. I was very interesting actually.
Yeah, it's like the talent's there. There's loads of young artists coming through from all walks of life, but especially I know there's so many South Asian artists. So it's crazy when I go to certain events, or if I go work at a studio, or work for an agency, or have a Teams call with a big brand, and there's 20 people on there, but I'm the only person who's from an ethnic minority. There's a problem
Hmm.
in the industry because there's some sort of connection that's not being made. So people can, and the industry and everyone can say like, oh yeah, we support diversity, all this stuff. They do it during the diversity week or the diversity month awareness thing, but it's their hiring process. There's talent
Yeah.
out there, but they're not able to connect that, which is a real shame.
I feel like there's not enough platform for people like that. And, it's funny because whenever I talk with friends and I talk about minority groups or like black artists, there's always something in common that talks about like, I couldn't afford this when I was younger. I couldn't
And
have Photoshop when I was a kid. My family didn't have enough money to buy me a laptop. And when I think about it, I feel sad because a lot of businesses and a lot of companies can actually invest in the future of creativity, because I think like even having program at schools at the early stage of life can actually is a win-win for everyone, for the business side, but also for the kid that in the future will be the best artist using that program, and then we use your program forever. So that is something that I feel like is missing a lot as well. It's almost like if all these kids had the opportunity to use this at an early stage of life, they will become so talented when they're in their early 20s, and they will just pop out everywhere. Like it will be difficult not to notice somebody talented that is doing it for so many years. So make it something fun to use since an early age, I would say, rather than, you know, I don't know, accessibility is the right word, can I say?
correct.
Give
Yeah, yeah. I think
accessibility to the youth.
Yeah, I think access to tools is important. Like my barrier to entry into the industry or into art
Hmm.
and design was probably a
Hmm.
lot later because I'm from immigrant parents. So I didn't have a really nice computer at home or a home family computer that was good. I had like a really crap broken £100 Dell computer or something. So access and materials, tools, like people forget
Yeah.
this stuff so much, so my counterpart who is British and white probably has, and we both started at the same time. We're both just as have a vision and talent. Our journeys will be different, and people
Yeah.
for some reason still don't understand this. But if that guy instead has the newest Mac for his birthday, he got a really cool SLR camera.
Hmm.
He has enough money to go to an exhibition and or just to get a bus ticket or
Yeah.
a train.
It
All these
opened
small
uh, it
things.
opened a lot of small doors, but
Yeah,
those small doors leave an impact. You see
correct.
what you said, the camera, he can start doing video, make money out of it. You talked about the events you make a network. So it's crazy. Small things that can really lead you into big things, a big project, and meeting actually the right people. So totally agree. Totally agree. And let's go on another question. Actually, obviously with Brown Ink and everything, how did the community actually impact your journey in the creative industry?
Um, so we've been doing branding for a couple of years now, but it's definitely
Hmm.
opened my eyes to like what I can probably give back.
Okay.
I feel like through my journey of my career, I've always tried to look out for like other people like me, but
Hmm.
maybe I've not. I think you become a bit, you just put the blinkers on and you just focus on like your career. And it's very easy to
Hmm.
do that. When you're just hustling, especially as a freelancer, you're just going from one job to another. So the last couple of years has been eye opening, I think, to be like, you know what? I remember I see this kid who comes to our networking events. He's just started out in motion graphics. He's a younger version of me. He's wants
Yeah.
to learn. He wants to know everything. That's why he's asking so many questions. And so I think it's reminded me, shit. I used to be that kid who
That
wants
kid.
to know everything. And wants to
Yeah.
like make art and how do I want to quit my part-time job and do this full-time. How do I do this? So I
Yeah.
think I also just try to give time and like through mentorships and all these different things, you just try and like understand. You know what? This is the way of making the change in the industry is by if
Yeah.
others are not going to do it, you're in control and you should do something.
Yeah, it's funny because it's almost like you're leaving a legacy for the next generation that looks like you, you know? And that's what I love about mentorship. Because, yeah, like the next generation is actually the future of the world. So I understand what you mean. Like sometimes you can get stuck in focusing on your own direction because let's be honest, everybody needs to pay their bills.
Yeah.
So at the very beginning of the career, you're always chasing, how can I get to the top? How can I work with the best people? How can I work? But when you have achieved all that, what is next in life? You know, is and I think that giving back to the community and improving the quality of how young designers might approach this world is very important because I see so many people that me and you mentor, they actually had like a little success story. They are still very new in the industry, but thanks to people like us, they already had, they have a better mindset of how to sell themselves, how to value themselves in the industry. And I think that is important because our generation, I think we, we didn't really know how much value we brought to businesses, you know. And now that it's very competitive, that we have done this for many years, now we understand exactly, wow, now I can charge this to a client. Younger designers don't know that. And a lot of time, as you know, uh, yeah, I'm not gonna say bad things online here, but let's say like they are not really treated fairly from businesses just because they know they can pay cheap money and get the most out of them. You know, it's almost like squeezing a towel. So no, that's super good. And what do you think is something that can actually I know we talked about maybe introducing accessibility to the younger generation, but if you can think about something else that can actually make a difference in the world of design, especially for people like us, well, what will it be for you?
Um, I mean, I think just getting people in a room together. I think
Hmm.
just like letting people know that there's different artists and people from different walks of life. Um, yeah, just like curating events and stuff. I think that's probably the most important thing is to just get people out and see in person like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
David does this, his art style is this, oh, his background is this. I can kind of like understand how I could do it now. I think just yeah, getting people together and like uh, and getting them all in a room and stuff like that, I think is really important. I think events are really, really cool. I'm seeing a lot more pop up in London. So yeah, I think curating spaces is an incredible thing to do.
Yeah, that would be a dream coming true. I mean, we're working somehow a little bit on that, and I don't want to say a lot, but you know, me and you, we catch up almost weekly, let's say. Every two, three
Yeah.
weeks we see each other. So that's a good thing. And now we also have a co-working space. So that's what I love. Like, we're kind of doing a little bit of movement in that area. And I think this podcast is also here to bring people to know the stories of all the designers like us in the industry, but hopefully in the future having something that we can actually come together and celebrate all together. And maybe, who knows, maybe give us the opportunity to work together on projects as well, because I
Mm.
think that is the power of having a group of same-minded people. It's like you work hard, you're dedicated, and you know that by working together, you're just stronger. You know, so that would be a dream. That will actually be a dream. But hey, we're working on it, so step by step, you know, we hopefully we're gonna make it. And
Yeah, for
if
sure.
I can ask you one big question for you, is like. If I have to ask you now, I know you've done a lot of stuff, yeah, and what would be your final goal? Like, what is Hash dream goal? If you have to do one thing, how would you like to finish your design career?
Do you know what? I mean, I've done a few podcasts and interviews and stuff over the years, and I get asked that question. Before I've always said like, oh, just work on the next thing or like see my art out in the
Yeah,
world. I don't know. I
yeah,
think my answer has been changing the last few years. I feel like leaving some sort of legacy is in just like have had some sort of reflection back on the industry or someone else. I don't know. I feel like if I could inspire the next gen or even just a couple of kids who want to get into art because they've seen my stuff, I'm kind of happy with that. Before I used to have these grand visions of like, this is the artist I want to be. I want to sell this.
Yeah.
But I think through the years, my mindset has changed and my career is no longer like goal based. And it's a lot more on like,
Yeah.
if I can keep it going, that's fine. And by the end of
Mm-hmm.
it, if I can look back and say, I've left this good imprint on people, an impression that like, uh, I'm a genuine person. I'm trying to like help out. I like, if you get me to do a project, I'll do my best ever. Like I'll do the best I can do. And
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's more to just have some sort of like, even if it's a very small impact on people, I think honestly, I'm
But
happy with
still,
that.
it's massive
Other than paying the
because your
bills, like
impact
I'm happy.
that person will carry it to another person as well. That's what you have to
Yeah.
remember. A small impact can be a massive impact in the world. And I think you know why you're changing idea. I think every year. I think it's because every year you accomplish something as well. And
Mm,
before was the thing that you wanted your work out there and this. We've been together in Barcelona, off for example, and to see your work together, the animation on the wall was amazing. You know,
yeah.
so because you reach that kind of status already, I think you always before is the success, but after it becomes like, okay, what now? You know, because don't get me wrong, a nice design is a nice design, but leaving an imprint in somebody, I think, is definitely that's priceless, bro. Like, it's you're giving them a belief, you're giving them the strength to say, like, you see, there's another guy like me that just look like me that is doing it to the fullest, and don't get me wrong, it's not a small thing. It's actually a big thing.
Mm.
And I know we never talked about this today, but I wanted the last question, I promise, and then that's it. Yeah. Um, we talked about this, I know for sure. Would you ever involve involve your culture within your design? Integrate your culture within the design, your design?
I I would like to. So I mean, I think some of it comes from already in like the colorful art that I do.
Yeah.
I didn't know it up until maybe a couple of years ago that I started looking back at some of my old work or thinking about in hindsight, how did I get to where I am now with my like artistic style that I've started to curate. A lot of the colors and the bold patterns come from like Indian culture.
Hmm.
These like vivid, striking colors that don't match or complement. When I look back at like uh Indian history and like Rangoli patterns and stuff like that, it's very much reflection of that. Also, if I like, whenever I go back to my parents' house and my mum's saris and the stuff she wore and the jewelry
Yeah.
that she had, it's very like shiny and colorful and poppy. And maybe there was something in that I looked at, and throughout the
Hmm.
years, that's what I was kind of creating through my work. And now
Hmm.
I'm a lot more like aware of it. So maybe that's why like I'm sort of matching the two. I would
Okay.
love to push into doing more like art that feels like it's from that world of like Indian culture and
I would love
aesthetics.
to see that, man. You should definitely do something.
Yeah, and especially with the like bold typography and stuff like that. But also, I like to like, I always like to be careful. I don't want to be known as like an Indian artist and just what I
Mm.
create, and that's just the output. So I think it's a bit of a balance of like remixing stuff and whenever it feels right, like peppering it into my work. Um, but yeah, definitely something for the future.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm just saying this because you know my thoughts. I always think like even me, as example, I do a lot of Afrofuturistic sneaker concept and stuff like that. But I think sometimes as an artist, maybe when we get older and stuff like that, is would be cool actually that we push a little bit more our culture, just to keep
Yeah,
like like let us be seen all around the world. You know, we represent them because we are who we are. You know, our parents made us, so we come from there. You know, but to represent also the art, the history of back home is, I think, is an important side of it as well. So I'm not gonna say do only Indian stuff now, because I think
Mm.
being authentic and being unique as an artist is also very important. You don't have to do what other people do, but definitely if you can do even like a collection, that would be fantastic. And I can see you already doing it. And if you want to do a collab, come on, bro. We did
Yeah,
one already.
anytime.
We can do the second one more cultural, yeah?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Bro, listen, was a blessing having you for the first episode. As
Yeah,
always, vibes here, and really thank you. And for the people at home and our subscribers, please give a follow to Hash. His work is amazing. And if you look at the Instagram handle, you can find all his socials. So show some love, yeah? Thanks, everyone, and have a good day. Bye,
thanks,
Hash.
guys. Bye.